Hey everybody. So after repeatedly running into the name Suicide for Celluloid, who has been frequently described as a criminally unsubscribed YouTuber, I decided to check him out. And I pretty much have just watched one of his videos. And that was in dealing with presuppositional apologists on something called framing the question. And I was kind of amazed that, by coincidence, it was pretty much describing my number one issue with that I had with discussing, I guess, epistemology with these guys. I am completely philosophically untrained. What I know about philosophy is from a few YouTubers that I subscribe to. I should plug Anti-Citizen X, Cheeky Vimto 08, uh, Carnades.org, and now Suicide for Celluloid. These guys are obviously educated. I am not. But I feel like I've always basically been trying to break things down in very unofficial terms, I guess. Now, the issue I had with them came immediately when they asked me that laws of logic question, which comes up in the framing the question video that this is in response to. And what I said is define exist. Um, and that immediately pissed them off because I appeared to have been hostilely denying to follow the script or something like that. I don't know exactly why they were mad. I can only speculate. But I thought the question was important because without understanding really anything about ontology or even epistemology or any of that, I just want to know what they meant. And the best way I have of even describing what I meant by asking the question is, define exist. Because I said, do the laws of logic exist in that they are a means of understanding and organizing things we know? I said, yes, but do they exist like the chair I'm sitting on? No. And they're like, how can you say that's a contradiction? I'm like, well, what do you mean? And I hope Suicide for Celluloid sees this. Because I'm going to add him on Google Plus and see if he has anything to say about this. Because my channel is more for learning purposes than for monetizing and gathering fame. And that might make me boring, but it's what I'm here for. Still love of all of you who subscribe, watch, and comment. I don't care if you like or dislike my video or if you agree with me or not. Just please freaking comment. Learning process. So anyway, what I meant was, let's take that old crazy Buddhist, Shintoist, whatever cliche question. If a tree falls in the forest and no one is around, does it make a sound? Now, define sound. Sound as in we hear, we understand that a tree is fallen, somebody cares that the tree is fallen, somebody knows that the tree is fallen, registers that the tree is fallen. Well, yes, the tree falls, but does it matter? And how the question is framed is where it matters. Of course, the tree makes a sound, but do you mean as in the tree vibrates the air around it in a percussion wave that is a sound wave? Or does that mean, does it make a sound as in, does somebody register and think of sound as human beings consider sound? Now, do the laws of logic exist in that in a universe like this, even if there were no people to think about the laws of logic, do they exist? Well, no. The laws of logic are a methodology used to understand complex questions and thought problems. If there's no one around thinking, then no. Now, I've already forgotten and probably should have remembered for the purposes of this video that there's a specific idea with a name that says that yes, hypothetical thoughts like unicorns do or do not have horns, as Carnegie has presented in one of his videos. Some would say yes, no matter whether the unicorn exists or not. I think the Aristotelian, I'm saying that wrong, view is that whether or not the unicorn exists, we can say whether or not they have horns. And the other guy would say Wait, no. The Aristotelian is no. The unicorn always has horns. The other guy would say it doesn't matter because it doesn't exist. Anyway, see, this is why I worry about uh, the purposes of actually throwing down on this level. Because, yes, I guess it comes down to a more complete refutation. That, yes, using the best available uh, thought processes, thought methodologies that mankind has ever proposed, you're wrong. But what if I just said, well, where the hell are the laws of logic? Can I find them? Can I touch them? Can I measure them? Or are they simply a methodology, a verb, and not a noun? I guess somebody should tell me if I believe that only nouns exist and that verbs are simply what nouns do and verbs do not exist. There is no such thing as a walking. And depending on what you mean, there's such thing as a walk, but there's no such thing as a walking. I wish one of these big guys like Cheeky Vimto or Anti-Citizen X would come down and tell me where I'm going with this, where I'm going right and where I'm going wrong, because I'm actually very interested in this. I want to learn this. Because I felt like I had some sort of victory as a layman, as an uneducated person, as a small fish, as I call myself, to just come up to them and say, no, the laws of logic do not exist because you have not defined exist. So I believe that yes, suicide for celluloid is right, and that I refuse to be bogged down into what I would call loaded language and they would call, epistemic misdirection or something like that. The point is that it was obviously misleading language. It was loaded. It was meant to misdirect and lead, and I saw that immediately, and I just said no. And in conversations that I've had with these guys off camera, I just said, okay, you're pissed at me for refusing to give the answer you want. So I guess just because I'm interested in what you have to say and I don't care, and obviously we're not on camera, so there's no purpose for me to pwn you and no purpose for you to pwn me. Why don't you explain to me why I'm supposed to answer this way? Why and what you would say if I did say yes, the laws of logic exist, and then, how do you know that and all that bullshit. Okay, and just in closing, what I understand about science, the way we understand things, where we see a phenomenon, we think, well, maybe this is why that happens, and then we design an experiment to test whether or not that's why it happens, and then we make a conclusion, and if the conclusion is solid enough, then maybe we have something resembling a theory. What I have from them is God exists, and here's the way that we can bend and misdirect and cherry pick until the facts meet the presupposed conclusion, which I automatically say is that's just wrong. That's not how anybody knows anything. And if there's such an importance on their word of knowledge, I would say to them that they have absolutely no way of proving that they have revealed truth. And that you can't even get to them to explain how that works. They say that I have to have a worldview that begins with the idea that there's somebody who knows everything, or else nothing can be known. That just is nonsense to me. And if there's even the remotest philosophical way that makes sense, somebody explain it to me so I know why anybody takes these people seriously. Thanks for watching.